A few days ago, something extraordinary happened. Taiwan's stock market became more valuable than India's. A Kerala sized island just overtook the stock market of a nation with 140 crore people because stock markets are not merely numbers, they are signals. Signals of confidence, signals of innovation, signals of where global investors believe the future is being built. When global investors value the companies of a tiny island more than the companies of a giant nation, in fact, India entered the semiconductor race even before Taiwan. Yes, you heard that right. India entered the semiconductor race before Taiwan. Let's go back nearly 50 years. In 1976, the government of India approved India's first major semiconductor initiative. A few years later came Semiconductor Complex Limited, SCL. There was no ChatGPT, no AI boom, no smartphones, no Nvidia, no Apple Silicon, no semiconductor race, and yet India had already recognized the importance of chips. We had started. We were in that race. Now let me tell you another data. Now think about this. India started first. Taiwan started later. Yet Taiwan won. Why? Was Taiwan smarter than India? No. Did Taiwan have more engineers? No. Did Taiwan have more resources? No. Then what happened? The answer is very simple. Taiwan, a small island roughly the size of Kerala and population around 2.3 crores. Now compare that with India, 140 crore people, the world's largest democracy, one of the fastest growing major economies, a country that produces CEOs, engineers, doctors and entrepreneurs for the entire world. And yet, a few days ago, something extraordinary happened. Taiwan's stock market became more valuable than India's. A Kerala sized island just overtook the stock market of a nation with 140 crore people. Not because it has more people, not because it has more land, not because it has more resources, but because it built something the world desperately needs. And India didn't build that. Now, before anyone says stock market numbers don't matter, wait, they do. Because stock markets are not merely numbers, they are signals. Signals of confidence, signals of innovation, signals of where global investors believe the future is being built. And when global investors value the companies of a tiny island more than the companies of a giant nation, they are trying to tell us something. The question is, are we listening to that? And now here is the part that shocked me. Most Indians think Taiwan started this journey before us. They didn't. In fact, India entered the semiconductor race even before Taiwan. Yes, you heard that right. India entered the semiconductor race before Taiwan. Let's go back nearly 50 years. In 1976, the government of India approved India's first major semiconductor initiative. A few years later came Semiconductor Complex Limited, SCL, India's attempt to enter semiconductor manufacturing. Think about that. There was no ChatGPT, no AI boom, no smartphones, no Nvidia, no Apple Silicon, no semiconductor race, and yet India had already recognized the importance of chips. We had started. We were in that race. Now let me tell you another data. 11 years later, a small island called Taiwan launched a company called TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC. Most people had never heard of it. Most investors initially ignored it. Most politicians probably never imagined it would change the world. Today, that one company sits at the center of global AI revolution. Every time someone uses ChatGPT, there is a good chance a TSMC manufactured chip is working somewhere behind the scenes. Every time Nvidia sells an AI chip, TSMC is involved. Every time the world builds more AI infrastructure, TSMC benefits. And that's why Taiwan's stock market exploded, because when the world started betting on AI, it wasn't really betting on software alone. It was betting on the physical infrastructure that powers the AI, the chips, the semiconductor chips. And Taiwan owns the most important part of that supply chain. Now, think about this. India started first. Taiwan started later. Yet, Taiwan won. Why? Was Taiwan smarter than India? No. Did Taiwan have more engineers? No. Did Taiwan have more resources? No. Then what happened? The answer is very simple and extremely uncomfortable to us. Taiwan stayed focused. India got distracted. Taiwan created semiconductors as a national mission. India treated semiconductors as one project among many. Taiwan built institutions. Taiwan trained engineers. Taiwan nurtured suppliers. Taiwan created an ecosystem. Taiwan taught in decades. India often thinks in election cycles, and over time that difference became enormous. There is a saying, small differences repeated for a long time create massive outcomes. Taiwan is a living proof. While India was discussing many things, Taiwan was obsessed with one thing, semiconductors. And that obsession created TSMC. And TSMC created wealth. And that wealth created confidence. And that confidence attracted the capital from across the world. And that capital created even more innovations. That is how nations compound and grow. Now, please don't misunderstand me. This is not a video against India. I love this country. In fact, the reason I make videos like this is because I love this country. Blind praise never built a nation. Honest reflection does. Look at India's strength. We built ISRO. We built one of the world's largest digital payment ecosystems. We built a world-class pharmaceutical company. We built a globally respected IT services industries, Infosys, TCS, HCL, Wipro. These companies transformed India. They created jobs, they created wealth, they created global respect. But there is a difference. IT services made India the back office of the digital world. Semiconductor manufacturing makes you the engine room of the digital world. One supports the future, the other powers the future. India supports, Taiwan powers. And right now, Taiwan is powering the future. The AI revolution is creating trillions of dollars in value, and much of that value eventually touches Taiwan. That is why the investors are excited. That is why money is flowing into Taiwan. That is why Taiwan's stock market surged. Meanwhile, India faced another challenge. The foreign investors started pulling money out of India. Indian markets had become expensive. The growth of corporate earnings slowed. The rupee weakened. Global investors started searching for direct AI beneficiaries, and they found Taiwan, not India. Again, this is not a failure of Indian people. This is a lesson about focus, because India's problem has never been talent. India's problem has never been intelligence. India's problem has never been ambition. India's problem is continuity. We start, we announce, we celebrate, then we move on. The countries that win stay obsessed long after the celebration ends. Taiwan stayed obsessed for decades, and today the world is rewarding that obsession. Now, before anyone becomes pessimistic, let me tell you something important. India can still win, absolutely. In fact, India may be one of the few countries capable of catching up. We have talent, we have scale, we have capital, we have a huge domestic market. We have begun taking semiconductors seriously again. The India Semiconductor Mission is a positive step started in 2021. Tata is investing, Micron is investing, new facilities are being built. For the first time in years, there is a real momentum. But momentum alone is not enough. We need patience, we need consistency, we need a 25-year vision, not an election 5-year scheme, not a press release, not a summit, not just announcement, a genuine national mission. Because semiconductor leadership cannot be built just through excitement. It is built through sheer discipline. Year after year, government after government, generation after generation, and perhaps that is the biggest lesson Taiwan offers India. Taiwan did not become powerful because it tried to do everything. Taiwan became powerful because it became indispensable. And that brings me to the most important question of this video. What is India building today that the world cannot live without tomorrow? Think about that. What are we creating that is making us indispensable? Not making us attractive, not promising, not potential, but indispensable. Because in the future, the richest countries will not necessarily be the largest countries. They will be the country that control critical technologies, semiconductors, artificial intelligence, energy, advanced manufacturing, biotechnology, defense technology. The future belongs to countries that become impossible to ignore. Taiwan understood that and built accordingly. India must do the same. So no, this is not a story about Taiwan beating India. This is a story about what happens when a nation chooses focus over distraction, when it chooses patience over headlines, when it chooses execution over announcements. A small island just taught a giant nation a $1 trillion lesson. Not a lesson of shame, a lesson of clarity, because the first step towards becoming a superpower is having the courage to admit where we are not yet powerful. Think about that. Thank you for watching.